I'm looking for the freak book, actually.
Okay, so you were looking for it. You haven't found it yet?
No.
Okay, so I did a little bit of research myself.
All right.
And I found what I think is the closest equivalent to the freak book.
Yeah.
So do you want to just get into that whenever we get into it, or do you want to get into that now?
No, let's get into it when we get into it.
Okay, can do.
Which I'm fine.
Let me pull it up, what I found.
Should we just get going?
Yeah, might as well, man.
All right. Welcome to No Hugging, No Learning.
It's a show about one thing, watching Curb Your Enthusiasm for the first time.
I'm Tim Murphy.
And I'm Ted Hollowell.
And today we will be talking about Season 6, Episode 6, The Rat Dog. But before that, what's the deal with stuff from our last episode, the Freak Book, as you've just heard us talking about the Freak Book. One thing that we wanted to do a little shallow dive on was the Bono phone that somebody gets Ted for his birthday as he opens his presents like a toddler might at his actual birthday party. Of course, the Bono phone referred to Product Red, stylized as parentheses, product in parentheses, and Red is a licensed brand by the company Red, stylized as Red in parentheses, that seeks to engage the private sector in raising awareness and funds to help eliminate HIV and AIDS in 8 African countries. Each partner company creates a product with the Product Red logo. So, like, they license their whole, the shade of red and the parentheses and the logo and all that stuff to anybody who wants it. And these products are supposed to be, I guess, maybe a little more expensive, maybe a little more desirable. And 50% of profits gained by each partner is donated to the Global Fund to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria, which is the title of an actual charity, the Global Fund, and the full name is AIDS, Tuberculosis, and Malaria. It's kind of ethical consumerism is what they call it. Not exactly nonprofit, but better than nothing.
Yeah, I mean, 50% is a pretty large margin. That's decent.
Yeah, it is.
It's better than hey, we're having a Pizza Hut night fundraiser where we get 10% of every Diet Coke that's sold.
Yeah, that's true. So obviously Product Red products have been sold by Apple, but also Nike, American Express in the UK, Coca-Cola, Starbucks, Converse, Electronic Arts, Head, Buckaroo, Penguin Classics, Gap, Armani, Fiat, Hallmark, Beats. The first thing ever to have the Product Red logo was an American Express card in the UK that, every time you made a purchase, like 1% or whatever went to the Global Fund, followed by Gap introducing their Gap Red line in March, and sometime in early 2006. Then Armani sunglasses, then Converse. It was not an iPhone that was the first phone to have a Product Red edition. It was the Motorola Sliver. I think I'm saying that right.
No way. Yeah. Is it SLVR?
Yeah, which I'm like, is that silver or sliver?
See, that's the thing, Tim. You never actually know.
Cool.
No, I'm pretty sure it was Sliver because I think it's in the same family as Razor. And then the successor to the Razor, the one that I had, the Crazer.
Oh, yeah, I see the Sliver. Yeah, I guess it was small. Yeah, it was back when the phone had to be the smallest possible, and now everybody wants the Plus. It's no, I want the biggest one you have.
Weirdly enough, they got a product endorsement with Scott Weiland and Velvet Revolver for the Sliver.
Really?
No, it's just because of the name of the song Sliver.
Oh, I didn't. I'm not as well versed in Velvet Revolver as I should be, I guess.
I don't think anyone actually needs to be well versed in Velvet Revolver. I just remember that one song because it played all the fucking time on
Rocket.
Not even on Rocket, but this was the era of my sister and I watching the VH1 Top 20 countdown.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Loved those. So the first actual Apple product did make its debut in that first year of Product Red, 2006, and it was an iPod Nano that got the Product Red designation in October of 2006. And Product Red is still going strong. In fact, the iPhone 14 was just released a few months ago. October of 2022 is the most recent product product to come out. Yeah,
that's ridiculous. I didn't know
Still
this thing was still going. I mean, good
Me
for
neither.
if they're making money and they're donating money. It's a good thing. Keep it going. Whether or not it's as popular as it once was, but if it's working, keep doing it.
Yeah. I liked it. It gave it a little bit more, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, authenticity or whatever, that it didn't become a huge fashion statement. That it because it wasn't like, oh, you got to have product red. Simply everyone has to have it. And it started to become more about the actual design or whatever product it was. And it wasn't about because it never became that status symbol. I feel like it maintained some sort of actual charitable aura about it. You know what I mean? And I like that they're still going and we didn't know it, but they're still sending money to fight AIDS, which is great. So the other thing we wanted to know is the book Mondo Freaks that that Larry is so obsessed with. It's a birthday present for Ted Danson, but Larry kind of ends up with it after he gets kicked out of the party and engages everybody from his limo driver to John McEnroe with the book. Is that a real book? So what I found is that it's not a real book, but it might have certainly the way it looks in Curb, which, by the way, I saw this on the IMDb page. It changes from a hardcover book to a softcover book at some time during the episode.
I didn't even notice that. Okay.
Yeah. It's hardcover all the way up until Larry and John are looking at it at the pre-party for the McCartney concert, and then it's a softcover. Certainly, the way it looks in the episode seems to be fictional, but when you search Mondo Freaks, you're able to buy it on Redbubble and these different places, and it's a book called Mondo Freaks, the original book of freaks.
And I think that is just a hardcover journal. That's going to be like blank on the inside.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
That's going to
There's
be
nothing that indicates that on the pages I'm looking at. So, but I think you're probably right.
What, on Redbubble, Tim? It literally says hardcover journal in the listing.
Okay, I see. Oh yeah,
but also
notebook,
on
but in the listing that I was looking at, it says the listing I'm looking at says Mondo Freaks, the book made famous by Larry and Jeff. I'm like, okay, interesting.
See, I'm looking at one on Redbubble where like it's got the image of Mondo Freaks, the original book of freaks, but that whole image is split between the back and front cover.
Yes,
so if you're looking at just the front cover, it looks like I do axe Ook of Freaks.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, hardcover journal. Okay, now I see. Yeah, I was just reading the description because it says Mondo Freaks. Oh my God, what a freak! Mondo Freaks, the original book of freaks, made famous by Larry David and Jeff. Curb Your Enthusiasm. But now I see if you look a little closer, it does say all that stuff about available in a selection of ruled graph or blank pages. Why would you buy this? Because it doesn't look like the book in the show. It's like some dumb logo that somebody made. Yeah.
It's like, didn't you get one of these things that was something from Seinfeld?
Yeah.
Was it the parking lot attendant?
Oh yeah, the Jiffy
logo?
Yeah, the Jiffy Park shirt. Yeah.
We were looking up the Jiffy Park shirts, and you found one that looked just like the logo in the show, but we found a bunch of them that were just like artistic, like creative representations of Jiffy Park. I'm like, who would buy this?
Yeah, it doesn't look like what I'm trying to buy. That's the dumbest thing. But I found the most authentic one on Etsy. It was like totally worth, whatever I paid for it.
So, Tim, this is where my homework comes in.
Okay.
So, the Mondo Freaks book itself is likely not to be real, but there is a good chance that it was based on FHM Presents the Carnival of the Grotesque. Freaks, Fools, and Foulness, culled from the pages of FHM. And, Tim, if you look at the Imager link I sent into the chat of the record, you can pull this up. Although I will say this is gnarly. So just be aware.
Yeah, when I think FHM, I want to see something grotesque. I wasn't reading FHM for gorgeous representations of the female body.
Yeah,
I wanted to see.
You're not reading FHM for boobs and motorcycles or anything. I think this is a different FHM.
Oh,
this can't.
No way.
This can't possibly be. This can't possibly be like For Him magazine.
I bet it is. I don't know why it wouldn't be. I mean, that's the only FHM from the United Kingdom that I know of. Let me see. EMAP Consumer Media. Is that who owned FHM at some point? One of Britain's biggest media conglomerates, encompassing gossip magazines, radio stations, and trade exhibitions, sealed its demise. This was an article from 2007, agreeing to a $1 billion sale to Guardian Media Group. Oh, it credits itself with revolutionizing the market for men's titles with the 1994 acquisition of For Him magazine, converted into FHM.
All right.
So it is the same.
Maybe this is the same thing then. This is so weird.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was like, FHM? Ugh, boy. This is
all right.
Oh my
god. You want to take a look at it, or are you already doing it?
No, I'm done. Yeah, I'm
You're done already?
Yeah, I got like 5 and I wasn't even focusing on them. I was just sort of like scrolling through as fast as I could, and I'm shutting it down.
Well, I mean, page 1, Spanish perv shakes boulder loose. This 39-year-old Spaniard was happily having carnal relations with a chicken when both he and the bird were crushed by a huge rock. Ironically, his thrusting likely caused the boulder to dislodge in the first place. There's a photo of a giant tumor. Let's see. This is captioned "Flesh-eating horror." A dude like missing half of the muscle on his leg.
Let me see when this is. Does the publishing date match up to being available in 2007? I mean, I'm guessing if EMAP was shutting down already by 2007, it's entirely possible.
It could be. You know, they're selling off all their assets. They're putting out hardcover and paperback versions of some of their most like controversial things to try and get a couple of sales, right?
Yeah, it doesn't have a date next to the cover.
Woman bursts stomach. Taiwan tug disaster. This was a scene after a Taiwanese tug-of-war contest ended in horror in October 1997. With over 400 participants tugging for each team, the rope snapped, throwing the contestants backward hard enough to sever the arms of 2 of the men. Their limbs were successfully reattached in the hospital. Lord. Oh, tree attacks man. Guy with a giant branch through his chest.
Wow.
Oh, God. Multi-limbed lamb. Load 38 more images. I think I will. Nutter rides over waterfall. Robert Overacker from Camarillo, Los Angeles, had planned to leap from his jet ski the second it went over Niagara Falls in a stunt he'd been planning for 7 years. A clever weight-sensitive device on the jet ski's seat would sense the daredevil's departure and automatically open the parachute strapped to his back. Unfortunately, the chute remained firmly shut, and Overacker went straight over the brink to his death, arms akimbo. Holy fuck.
Yeah, this is so this was from 2001. And so I'm going to say that you're probably on the right track, because it seems to be like when you search for this, you get lots of news stories about it that, for instance, this from the BBC, magazine criticized for shock tactics because in 2001, a schoolgirl fainted and died after reading this book. If there is any better advertising for a freak book, they honestly probably loved the fact that this happened. Our book literally killed someone. This schoolgirl was looking through the book and fainted and then passed away, I guess. Yeah, and so there have been various Reddit threads about trying to find the freak book, and some people positing like, it's kind of like a Ripley's Believe It or Not book, because those were kind of big back in the day. There's on Amazon 7 years ago, someone posited that it could be the Book of Freaks by Factoid Books. Either that or this might have come out. The Big Book of Freaks. Oh, by Ricky Jay, the famous actor and magician.
So I'm looking at I don't know if you made it this far into what is it, the Book of the Grotesque? Death
I did not.
By Ceiling. Distracted by a phone call, motor mechanic Carl Riom left a high-pressure air hose attached to a tractor tire in his garage in the town of Edselen near Stockholm. Returning from his chat, the last thing Carl would have seen was the grossly swollen tire, which then burst with tremendous force. The explosion propelled the unfortunate grease monkey into the ceiling, where he left this imprint. Quote, "The ceiling was very dirty," explained the local copper who had to remove poor Carl's remains.
So it's like a cartoon
Christ.
like style body shape.
No,
of someone...
it's a photo.
Yeah. But no, I mean, like, is it a cartoon style body shape
it's
on the wall?
Exactly. It's mostly like where his body hit is clean versus the rest of the dirty ceiling, and then there's just a like very dark splatter where I'm guessing his head exploded.
Oh God.
Exploded.
Yeah, this
it's
I was correct in my
grisly
assessment last week that this would not be my kind of thing, and I'm gonna agree with you that this seems to be, it seemed to be a popular entry, or maybe the most popular entry in this genre of book.
Oh, I made it to the body horror. Horror. Oh.
The whole thing is body horror.
Oh, there's just like a photo gallery of body horror.
Jeez.
It's not even like, yeah, oh God. Okay, I made it too far.
God. There's only two things that make Ted do that: gummy bears and body horror.
Oh.
You've now dry heaved several times on the podcast, but this is the first from not from eating something.
Not since we were recording in person and doing like our taste tests of Seinfeld products. Oh man.
So Mondo Freaks is not real.
Okay.
Mondo Freaks is not real, but this freak book is, and I would tend to agree with you that Mondo Freaks probably was inspired by, if not this book, maybe just one like it. And that's all the homework and stuff that we had.
Oh God! All right.
Well, Ted recoups.
Yeah, I need a second. Damn.
Oh God.
Okay. I think I'm ready.
Yowza.
Most of that was just me trying to keep my cereal down as well.
Yeah, I bet.
Okay, did we want to get into Curb Your Continuity, or did you kind of already cover that with?
Yeah, with the I didn't think about it.
Is it hardcover or is it paperback?
That's
kind of it.
Cover. Yeah, that was it. So
all right,
normally it spans a couple episodes. Like, well, back in season 1, this happened, and now this is happening. But this was within the episode we had an entry. So yeah.
Okay, do we got any news or anything?
Not that I saw.
All right. Perfect. If you have never listened to us before, we are not a research-heavy show, despite the last 19 minutes being almost exclusively research and bullshit. But we like to have our questions pop up naturally in the run of the episode and assign them to ourselves the week following, as though we are giving ourselves homework. I've never seen these episodes before. Tim has never seen these episodes before in the last 16 years. If we miss anything, if we egregiously skip over anything, please send us an email or send us a tweet. It's at NoHugging on Twitter or nohugging@gmail.com. Both of those links are down in the description or on the show description page on Apple Podcasts. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and a written review on Apple Podcasts, or a 5-star rating on Spotify if you use either of those apps. If you like us a little bit more than that, you can join us over on Patreon. It's patreon.com/nohugging, where for $5 a month, you can get early access to extended versions of our episodes. I'm not sure how much of us talking about the Carnival of the Grotesque made it to our free feed, but if you want to hear me go through quite a few listings in it and ultimately find something that made me tap out, that's over on Patreon. Again, patreon.com/nohugging. We've also got movie reviews from the Seinfeld Extended Cinematic Universe. I think I add a new word to the title of that every time I say it. Our most recently published, as of this episode's release on the free feed, as of this record, I should say. Our most recently published episode as of this record is Joe's Apartment, which is one of Tim's favorite movies from the mid to late 90s that he wanted me to watch. I will say, I don't want to say that it was like a punishment, but Tim got me back for watching Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
If you feel the way that because man, I mean, spoiler alert, I still love Joe's Apartment. You can learn more about Ted's reaction as you listen, but yeah, if you feel the same way that I felt about Forgetting Sarah Marshall, which was a movie that I liked at one point, but I have no desire to revisit it now that I've done it again, then yeah, mission accomplished. But I've got more. I've got more in my bag that I was suspecting that you might actually fall in love with Joe's apartment, but I've got a couple in my bag that I'm thinking might be painful, but we'll see. We will see. It's not over.
Again, that is over at patreon.com/nohugging, where you can join the likes of Nate Collins, Tamara Ortiz, the guys and gals over at the Idiotville podcast, John and Kathleen Murphy, Tim's dad and mom, because there is no password sharing in No Hugging Land. We also got Will Hall, Danica Ligorio, J-Dog Conlord. Wait. J. Lord Condog. I did too. I did it this time. J. Lord Condog. Nick Kudla, Adam Webb, and Megan Stolarski. Thank you guys so much. Again, patreon.com/nohugging. Link is down in the description. All of that being said, Season 6, Episode 6, The Rat Dog. Original air date October 14th, 2007. And if you are looking in TV Guide that night, you are going to see Larry test the limits of sick sex. Loretta and Leon's job prospects are burned by a slow toaster.
I liked the play on words last week, but now I don't know if I like this at all. We'll have to see when we get to the end how much we agree that those are the most important storylines. All right, so we open up at home, and it is breakfast time, and Larry is dealing with the aforementioned slow toaster. Already it's being introduced, so we know it has something to do with the episode. And he's giving Leon some job interview advice, and it is to turn it around on the interviewer. After he asks some questions, then ask him some questions and start making him try to impress you. And this just goes to show you that Larry has never been in a job interview.
No.
Because it is a part of every single job interview. That just goes, the end of every job interview is, do you have any questions for us? Every single one. So, wow, I can't believe every hiring manager has been flipping it on themselves since the beginning of time.
Oh, man, Larry's the smart one here.
I mean, I did like their back and forth about it because I like Leon going off. He's like, what's your credit like? You use credit cards? What do? You order the CD through the mail company, it goes to the neighbor's house, and you go pick it up before the neighbor can find it? It's like, Larry's like, what? That's very specific.
Yeah.
that was so I like their play on it, but also it's so out of touch with the common man because Larry is giving him advice. Honestly, it is good to have some questions prepared. So maybe he did help Leon, because who knows how many job interviews Leon has been on, but especially, I mean, we find out he's at like some very nice financial firm or something like that. So Leon seems like a guy who has lived by the streets. And so maybe he hasn't had a job interview. So it was good to prep him to have questions for the interviewer, but it's also an accepted part of a job interview. So again, maybe Leon didn't realize that, but he was prepared with some questions, which was good. And a telemarketer calls, and Larry just cannot believe he's obviously, maybe this was before the do not call list, because they did hit up your cell phone a ton. Leon remarks that he has the same phone as Larry. Meanwhile, Cheryl is sick, and Larry is up there kind of, taking a little bit of care of her, and he's excited at the prospect of Leon or Loretta, who also has a job interview, about them getting a job and moving out. If just one of them gets a job, they can all move out of our house. And he also tries getting frisky with Cheryl, but she is not into it. It was a bold move, but it did not pay off for him. Over at Newton Academy, not the Dryden School. So is this a Curb Your Continuity entry where the school clearly says Newton Academy and they had been trying to get into the Dryden School, or did they end up not getting into the Dryden School because of the snafu with the admissions lady, and so they had to go to maybe the lesser Newton Academy? I do not know.
Maybe.
There is a real Newton Academy in Los Angeles near, I think, like Koreatown, but it is not. It's a preschool, not a a private school or anything like this. So not the same place. So maybe they made up a completely other fake school. But I would like to know why we're not going to the Dryden School, why we're going to Newton Academy now. Larry's dropping the kids off at school, and he runs into some other parents like Susie and Tim Meadows.
Yeah. One of my favorite celebrities to run into.
Yeah. He's Hal. He's not Tim Meadows, of course, but and obviously Tim Meadows, very famous by this point. I mean, this was not working actor gets a job. It's funny guy gets this cast on Curb. Yeah,
this is like post SNL, post Mean Girls, post a lot of things. Yeah, this is like, oh yeah, very famous comedian, very famous comedic actor Tim Meadows is on Curb this week.
Yes. Have you watched The Mandalorian? Are you into that at all?
Yes, but we're not caught up on it. We started this season. We started season 3, and we're like 2 or 3 episodes into it, I think. Yeah. I know we are you watching it? You're not caught up on it, are you? You're not caught up on anything.
I can't believe it, Ted, but I finished Mando the same week it ended. I watched that on Thursday night. Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
Okay,
I'm as shocked as you.
Was this past week the season finale?
Yes.
Oh my God.
I know.
Okay. Jeez.
Because I watched the first episode like that Wednesday night. I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch the first episode because I'll probably fall behind and blah, blah, blah. And then I purposefully saved the last 2 episodes because I wanted to watch them back to back because I didn't want to wait a week. But that's what I did. I watched the second to last episode on Wednesday and the last episode on Thursday, and I was like, holy shit, I actually finished a show the week it finished. This has never...
You're like, I can actually talk to Ted about something new. And then, sorry, buddy.
But I can join the discourse. I can text with my brother about it, I mean, because he's definitely the guy who keeps... Yeah, but I mean, this doesn't spoil anything, but Tim Meadows shows up, and he's excellent on Mandalorian. Okay. Yeah,
I know,
he's absolutely fantastic. Tim Meadows, especially, just has this way of playing an everyman that no one can do. He's just, he's just so good at being just, I don't know, almost like a living NPC or something. Just like very vanilla, but he adds.
That's such a good descriptor.
Yeah, like he's supposed to just be like wallpaper, but he just elevates that role to something special. Like, I don't know, I can't explain it, but he's great. Gotta love Tim Meadows. And he has a wife, Jane, who is deaf, and Larry, he knows she's leaving. He knows the sign for bye, which is waving goodbye. Or Hal is leaving, and he waves goodbye. And he's like, I know, so. And he kind of moves his hand back and forth. And he also knows stinky, like holding your nose and going PU, which are obviously not actual ESL, but they are just agreed upon societal nonverbal cues that that he knows. And he needs a toaster, and Jane found out that there is a sale at Sur La Table. This was one of my favorite things because Susie is interpreting her ESL, and I'm sorry, ASL. ESL is English as a second language. ASL is American Sign Language. I always mix those up. Thank you. Yeah, I was like, wait, what does ESL stand for? Oh, American Sign Language, of course, because it's the internet age now. You got to put E in front of it. So Susie is interpreting the ASL, and I love that Larry goes, how do you know she said Sur La Table? Because he thinks that there's sign language for Sur La Table. And she's like, she spelled it, you dumbass. I thought that was hilarious. And Larry kills a spider. And look, normally I am all for insecticide. In fact, there's a spider walking around our house right now that I lost track of that was very large. What I saw of it was like the size of Susan B. Anthony, like the size of a gold coin.
God damn.
Yeah, I know. And then we lost track of it. And I'm like, well, I guess we should check into a hotel for a couple of days, or at least until the weather cools back down, this winter. Then we'll move back in and hopefully, yeah. And so I am all for killing spiders, but this spider was outside and going as fast as it could away from Larry David, and he still steps on it.
Not only that, but Larry, like, very clearly makes a scene and violently stomps this spider to death.
Yeah.
Like, spider! Spider! Ah!
Yeah, and stomps on it like 6 or 7 times. Like curb stomp style. Curb stomp, hey.
Boom, 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 boom. As your heels going into the back of this person's neck.
Now I want somebody, I'm sure, maybe it's even out there, I want somebody to put the Curb Your Enthusiasm music over the beginning of American History X.
Is this too much of a stretch for a pun? American Curbstery X?
Little bit.
Okay. All right. Hey, that's what I wanted to ask.
Curbstery. I don't think even I can let that slide. But yeah, that now I want that as the cops are pulling up and Edward Norton is curb stomping that guy in the beginning.
But I want the boom boom as he right as he stomps.
Oh my gosh!
So the beginning is like the whole like setup.
I just want that on every inappropriate movie now, like the end of Philadelphia, or like Dallas Buyers Club. I want like inappropriate curb music. I want that to be a thing now.
Hey, this episode doesn't come out on for another week at least for patrons, and 2 weeks for the free feed. You got time. Set up the TikTok now. Do it.
Oh my gosh! All right.
Although I feel like you got to do Instagram. We'll do Instagram Reels.
Do it on the gram. Yeah. I was just going to turn our Twitter account into that, but maybe I'll make it on the gram and then I'll figure out how to do that. Inappropriate curb music. After, the crowd is horrified by Larry doing this, and Susie chews him out for saying it was too violent for people. Now, I do disagree with that. Like, well, he didn't need to step on that spider, but also nobody should be freaked out about it. And he sees Jane's dog, who is it like a hairless chihuahua or something? What was that?
Kind of looks like it. Kind of looks like a hairless chihuahua.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any way to find out. But he says the dog is very rat-like, and Susie passes that message on to Jane, who is offended, but Larry tells her he was joking, and it's funny, as she's walking away, he yells, "Joking! Joking!" Like she's deaf and can hear.
Because she can hear him, clearly. Oh, wait, no, she can't!
Yeah, I thought that was funny. But also I like the twist on the joke. Like when Susie said the dog looks like a rat, like tone does not translate through American Sign Language. Tone does. It's like reading an email or a text and like trying to take it the right way. That's why everybody uses exclamation points on everything, because they're so disarming. Like when you're saying, it's like
or emojis.
Yeah, or emojis, exactly. But that doesn't exist in ASL, so there was no way to know that Larry was just like, oh my gosh, what is that? Like half rat? Like that it was kind of a joke.
Kind of a
joke.
Just, yeah.
Just
meanwhile, Susie in her interpretation says the dog looks like a rat.
Yeah. And just plain like that. There's no... I mean, she could have added some sort of laughter motion to it or whatever, but no, she doesn't do that. Larry, leaving the school, uses the bathroom and runs into Hal, and he tells him what happened and explains that, she couldn't detect his joking tone. And, he's like, I'd love to apologize, but, I can't really give her a call because she's deaf. And it's funny, Hal goes, yeah, I know she's deaf. He's like, well, I think it'd be great if you came by and apologized. And Larry thinks that's special treatment that deaf people would not want. They don't want special treatment.
Yeah, this is Larry thinking for the people.
Yes.
That, I don't know, he's trying to think of like what would be best for the people, but really what would be best for him.
Exactly, yeah.
He doesn't want to go to their house.
Yeah, in his laziness, he's attempting to make it look like he's being altruistic, which is a great Larry. It's like his base mode, really. And he's like, no, well, those people don't want special treatment. He's like, what do you mean by those people? He's like, the deaf, they just want to be treated like everybody else. And with everybody else, you can call and you don't have to drop by. So I feel like that would be special treatment that they wouldn't want to be, pointed out for. And while he's drying his hands in the blow dryer, Larry inadvertently makes a sign that offends Hal, and he says "fuck you" and storms out.
First off, like he's drying his fingers, like individually, and kind of like rubbing each one of his fingers individually, like almost as though like if you were to slide your ring finger off, but he's doing
slide your ring off.
He's doing that like in and out on his index finger.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who has ever dried their hands like this, first off? And second off, obviously we find out later, but I'm wondering, okay, what does that mean, apparently? Or Larry did something in ASL to piss Hal off.
Yeah. But honestly, this is Heather Mills McCartney level of thinking everything is about yourself.
Yes.
Like last week when she got offended because they were like a football field away from her, looking at a book and saying, "What a freak," and then she thinks that they were talking about her. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing. It's obvious. Hal should have known from that one brief interaction out in the schoolyard that Larry does not know ASL. So it's impossible for him to make any signs. But yes, it did mean something, as we find out later. Over at Jeff's, Larry is talking about how Cheryl being sick gets him a little... There's something about sick sex that gets him excited. He wants it when she's sick. And Jeff's like, I'm kind of the opposite. I want it when I'm sick. And Larry, they're both into it. I got, not to get too TMI, but I'm more on Jeff's side on this. There's something about like that tingly sick feeling that can add to, it's tough to make it happen, especially when you have no energy and you're sick or whatever. But there's something about that, the chills. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. The chills kind of add
add to
it. Yeah. So I understood what they were saying. I don't think it's that weird, but they're both into it. Larry wants to get his dad something special for his birthday, and he wants to get him a happy ending massage. And Jeff has to reinform Larry that he's the guy, because if you'll remember, Jeff gave Larry a masseuse recommendation in season 2, episode 10, the massage, the season finale of season 2.
Oh,
yeah, where it was a happy ending massage, and Larry didn't know. I feel like they're reintroducing this to us. Like, yeah, we know. I wish they would have said, hey, remember when you gave me that masseuse? I want to do the same thing for my dad. I wish they would have connected it. There's no reason not to. It made it seem like it was a new plot line, when in fact, just a few years ago, it was they made a whole episode called The Massage about it. But Jeff is the guy, and he gives Larry, he says, Lisa, she's the best. You got to hire her. Susie comes in, and so we find out, Larry explains to her what he was doing in the bathroom, and Susie explains that he called Hal a cocksucker. The motion he was doing with, like if you make a little, sock puppet mouth with one hand, and you sort of pull that on your index finger, that's cocksucker in ASL. So don't say you never learned anything from Curb. And so Larry, is kind of like, okay, well, that all makes sense about Hal now. And he also has no one to go to Greece with, because Cheryl is sick, and he's going to go see Keisha in the play. That's when Mike, the exterminator, volunteers to go. Mike, the exterminator, a.k.a. Kevin Farley. Farley's brother.
I thought that was him, and I was like, is that eerie comedian mainstay Kevin Farley, who's been on like the Rock Morning Show like 5 or 6 times?
He must do very well in Erie. I met him on the Star Morning Show when I was there. It was great. We talked about, because I guess they're from the Midwest or Wisconsin or something like that, and Making a Murderer was huge when he was on, and so we were talking about their thick Wisconsin accents that they have, and he could obviously do it pretty well from being out there. But yeah, the great Kevin Farley. It's kind of weird. At first, Larry's like, I don't know if I'm gonna go. And Mike, he sort of guilts Larry into it by playing this, like, I don't know, almost pity card. Like, oh, you know what? That was stupid. I don't know why. I like theater. I'm sorry. I was out of line. Mr. Green, I'm really sorry about the, I'll just get back to work. But then Larry, this is also, this goes back to like being altruistic, but really being lazy is the subtext. Larry doesn't want to do this, but he hates the idea more that somebody might think he's a bad guy. And there is like a class thing to it too, that there's like, he's a worker. He's working in his friend's house, and now he's volunteered to go. It's like, and Mike kind of plays that up, that like Larry is at a different social level than he is. Like, oh, I'm sorry, you're right, that was wrong. I'm just a worker. I'm going to go back to work or whatever. But Larry wouldn't want anybody to think of him that way. And so he's like, oh yeah, sure. Let's definitely we'll go to Greece together. And I like when Mike is like, oh, we're going to have fun. We're going to get fucked up. Like, what?
What do you think we're doing here, Mike? What do you think we're going to go see?
That was weird, but funny. All right. Oh, we're going to have fun. We're going to get fucked up. Back at home, Leon's interview went very well. He flipped it on him. So he took Larry's advice, and he had some questions for the interview, which is great. I mean, that honestly, that is a good strategy, once again. And Loretta has an interview today. Larry introduces the concept of, I got a good feeling. I see 2 jobs in our future. And, if you do that, you can move out. And that concept is just completely ignored.
Yeah, they don't pay any attention to it. I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, Loretta just kind of turns around, is like, okay, do I look all right? Just starts talking to Leon again. And Nat shows up, and he is in love. He's telling Larry he met this beautiful woman, and yes, she's a masseuse, but she did things that mean love. She really likes me. And this is all, of course, because of the happy ending that Larry didn't let his dad know about, but that, Nat thinks he got a little something special because she's in love. Cheryl wants some wheat toast and also guilt trips Larry a little bit. I mean, if anybody can, I guess it's your wife, but she goes a little hard right away. She opens with, "You don't care about me," or something like that. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Come on.
Jesus Christ.
That's like toddler level. "You don't like me, you don't love me unless you bring me wheat toast." Like, all right. And so he runs downstairs and pauses Leon's toast, which I loved that conversation too. And he's like, "You can pick up where you left off." And Leon's like, "You can't pause toast." "You can definitely pause toast." And so he brings Cheryl, because of this busted toaster, essentially warmed bread. And I liked the extra detail of, he tried to, you could tell, put a pat of butter on it, but the bread was too cold to even melt the butter. So it's in like one big chunk. You know, like when you go to a hotel and it's like frozen butter and you can't get it on a roll or anything. I liked that it was in one giant chunk. She's like, "I wanted toast." And he's like, "This is toast. It went in the toaster." But Cheryl rejects the warmed bread. And now Loretta is late to her interview. And on the way out, to try to get her there on time, Larry grabs a cell phone, but we know that he has the exact same phone as Leon, and there's another phone sitting on the table. Yep. I feel like hilarity is going to ensue. Over at the Bodnick group, it turns out that he waited as long as he could, but Loretta missed the job interview and the position's already been filled. So it is a no-go for the job, and she is very unhappy on the drive back home with Larry and Nat. And Larry's like, "You know what? It was that toaster. I'm going to buy a new toaster right now. We're going to go to the sale." And Nat wants to buy Lisa, his love lady, a toaster. He wants to get her something very nice as well. So over at Sur La Table, which was at 301 Wilshire Boulevard in Santa Monica, but Sur La Table closed more than half of their 121 U.S. locations in 2020 after filing for bankruptcy. And this store was one of the casualties. And along with the news stories that I found were that both West Side LA locations were closed in that culling. So I think there's now 55 Sur La Table locations in the U.S. There's still 10 in California, and 4 of those are in the L.A. area. So,
oh, my God.
Yeah, so fear not, L.A. residents.
I think you're fine, L.A.
Yeah, you're just going to have to...
I think you be okay getting your Sur La Table.
Yeah, getting your super nice kitchenwares. It is now Interior Define, which is a pun that I don't like. I can tell, it's a play on interior design, but it's Interior Define.
I didn't even pick up on that.
I almost didn't either, and that's
so
why.
Bad.
Yeah, that's why I was like, no, the pun police are shutting that place down. We're gonna.
Wait, are you saying define as in like definition or divine?
Define, D-E-F-I-N-E.
Okay, because divine with a V works so much better.
I agree. Interior Divine. I like that better than Interior Define. What? That just sounds like you have a speech impediment.
Oh, no. Which we're not making fun of.
We weren't, but now we are. No, I'm just kidding. And Larry and Loretta are looking at a toaster, and they also compare which skin tones they find attractive. And Larry can go anywhere from albino to Heart of Darkness Africa.
Jesus Christ.
He has no preference. So, and also he sees Jane, who told Larry about the Sur La Table sale. And so he goes over there and apologizes to her. Great. So now he doesn't have to drop by. He apologizes. He attempts to kiss and make up with the dog, but the dog is not into it. And he also apologizes for the cocksucker misunderstanding, which she totally gets because she knows that Larry doesn't know ASL. And so she understands that it was a misunderstanding. And it is smoothed over until Larry finally is forced to tell his dad so he doesn't buy some like $2,000 cappuccino maker for Lisa. He finally says that he was the one who set up the happy ending and and that it was all paid for, that it was what she was supposed to do, and he makes the jerk off motion, and then he makes eye contact with Jane, and so now she's offended, and she does not hear him yelling as he did before that it was I forget I don't know whether he yells joking or what he was yelling this time, but it wasn't about her, but she is still offended. So back at home, Larry leaves a message with Hal to call him on his cell phone, and Loretta tells Larry that Keisha's sick, so she's not going to be in the play. And Bill calls about the offer. Somebody named Bill is like, "Hi, I'm calling about the offer," on Larry's cell phone. And Larry thinks it's a telemarketer and basically tells this guy, as he puts it later, to go fuck himself, because it's obviously somebody calling to offer Leon a job, but Larry thinks it's the telemarketer, same guy from earlier, or a different guy with it saying, no, we've got an offer I think you're really going to like. And this is almost borders on like Three's Company level, because if the guy would have just said, "No, Leon, it's about your job order," or "Hello, Mr. Black, I'm calling about a job order, job offer. Hello, Mr. Black, I'm calling about your job offer," but he just keeps saying offer.
We'd like to make you an offer. Yeah, we'd like to make you an offer. We've got an offer that we think you'll really like.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, how long do you think it's going to be until we get like telemarketing GPT?
Oh, it's got to be.
It's got to be in the
happening.
Works, right?
Yeah,
I wouldn't be. Like, telemarketers actually get paid pretty well. Like I never knew that until I had to Uber a few around, and they're like, "Yeah, if I go in like from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. like on a holiday, it's like $60 an hour," and I'm like, "Damn. Jesus Christ!
Why didn't I do that?" I don't like talking on the phone to people I know, so I guess that's probably why I didn't do it.
Exactly.
But I guess as long as you don't care about people hanging up on you, cursing you out or whatever, that's
you got like really thick skin. It is the perfect job for you.
I guess that's not bad.
And you don't have phone anxiety. I guess that's a pretty big qualifier.
yeah. I would show up on my first day. They're like, "All right, Tim, you've been here an hour. How many calls have you made?" "I'm gearing up for my first one. I've already got kind of like the conversation set in my mind what I'm going to say." Like, well, it's all in the script. Like, yeah, I know. I just really want to make sure
Yeah, but I just gotta like hype myself up.
Gotta build up to it.
I got this.
Yeah. I'm going to make that first one today. I promise. At some point.
3 weeks later, and you haven't made one phone call yet. You're like, yeah, still working up to it.
Oh, I'm going to do it. Yeah, I was about to yesterday, and then my shift was over. So, meanwhile, Hal calls Leon because he thinks he's calling Larry, and Leon, first of all, thinks it's some guy calling that who Leon slept with his wife, and wants an apology for that. And Hal thinks it's Larry doing a black scent and talking like a black guy. But Leon is talking about how he hit that ass and now he's done with it, so you can have your wife back and all that. And Hal is not pleased. So back at home, Leon realizes that their phones have been swapped, and I like that both of them say that no one called.
And like they're leading each other too as well. I forget who goes first, but Leon's like, "No one from Woodcrest Financial called," and Larry's like, "I didn't get a call I didn't get a call from Hal," and Leon's like, "No."
I loved both of their diminutive. Nope. Almost silent nopes, like
just so quiet, so shy about it. I'm like, this was great.
Nope.
Nope. Didn't get any call.
Nope. That's when Mike shows up, and we get like they played this very weird.
They played this like Mike is a prom date.
Yeah.
To pick up Leon's teenage daughter, Larry.
Exactly. And Larry has like a she's all that moment of coming down the steps and like the music starts up. It was weird and not ever really driven home, but it is played like that, which is weird. So I feel like they just kind of went halfway with this gag,
What would be going all of the way with this gag?
I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe this is as far as it needed to go.
Would Mike and Larry kiss at the end?
Well, you can tell that they were playing that up as well at the end.
Would Larry give Mike a dry handy in the car?
who wears suits to a grade school musical too, by the way?
I don't know.
Like, you'd be overdressed, and like, we live in a good school district. It's not Newton Academy or anything, but like, you'd be overdressed in a polo going to anything at our grade school, So, and Keisha's not in high school or anything. At least it doesn't look like it from what we've seen of her. Right? This would be like a middle school musical if it was going to be anything, I think. But they're both dressed very well. And when we get to the school, we find out they're not overdressed. There are plenty of people in suits, but I'm like, what is going on?
Maybe this is just like LA private school attire for parents.
I guess so.
Everyone's always got to be wearing a suit. At least, no. You know what? Everyone's wearing a suit.
Yeah, I think so. And Nat brought Lisa to the play, which Larry rolls his eyes at. Meanwhile, Jane tells Susie what Larry said to Hal, which was really Leon, as we know, that Larry was being very racist when he was talking to Hal. And Susie, I thought this was funny too, because Susie is translating and Larry is confused as to what Susie is saying or what Jane is saying. When he's like, wait, are you saying that or her? She's like, it's me saying it. And she refuses to translate for Larry. And she's like, tell her that's not what happened. She's like, I'm not telling her anything for you. So Larry's side of the story isn't getting told at all, but everything's coming one way through Susie. I thought that was hilarious. Wait, are you saying that or her? And then Jane's dog escapes. And when Nat sees it, he yells it's a rat. And that's when Mike gets up. This made me audibly go, oh my God, when Mike stands up and starts stomping the dog. Like, more than Larry stomped the spider, but obviously it was.
I don't know how many times he stomps this thing, but like, or is supposed to stomp this thing, but like, it's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot.
Like 14 times with your foot going above your waist.
Yeah, definitely enough times for him to think, oh, this isn't a rat. What am I currently stomping on? Oh, it's a little tiny dog. Oh. Well, I've made it this far.
Oh God. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It gave me a visceral reaction. Like I audibly was like, oh my God. Like it was a little too much.
And we got a very grotesque episode with the Carnival of the Grotesque, and now Mike curb stomping a little dog.
Yeah. And he's, everyone's like, oh my God, that was a dog. He's like, no, it was a rat. Like almost trying to convince himself.
He's trying to convince himself. Yeah.
No, I didn't just kill a dog. It was a rat.
No, it was a rat. More commotion. It was a rat.
So back at home, this is where we get the awkward front door exchange goodbye, as if it was a date. And there was a point when Mike, it looked like when they shake hands, that Mike was attempting to like.
It looked like he was going in for a kiss.
Yeah, go in on Larry. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it just didn't land on me that I was like, why play that angle up at all? I mean, it was weird, but
I want to believe that this was totally improv on Kevin Farley's part, and like both of them just decided, we're gonna play it up like she's all that, and then whenever you get home, you're dropping Larry off as though he's your prom date, and action.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it was a way to go about it. And I mean, I guess some things can just be little jokes like that, and they don't have to have anything to do with the plot, and they don't have to write a storyline around them. It can just be, there's a joke, And so the next morning or somewhere abouts, Cheryl has a better toaster that is working now, and she is taking toast up to Larry, who is now very sick. And he tries.
We never got like any like. How did Larry get sick? I'm guessing just from taking care of Cheryl. Like it was going on throughout the house, because we know Keisha was sick as well.
Yeah, and even Loretta's like, I think she got the same bug that Cheryl had, and Larry must have somehow ended up too with that same bug. So and it seems to be a mix of mostly stomach, because they talk about being able to keep food down or keep anything down. So some kind of stomach bug, I guess. Because, Cheryl mentioned at one point, like, I'm able to keep something down, and I feel like eating for the first time in days, and you're not going to make me a toast or whatever. And Loretta taking orange juice to Keisha to see if she can keep it down. It seems to be that kind of thing. But Larry is very sick, but he still tries to get that sick sex from Cheryl, and she is not into it again. And as he says, no good, Frolic starts to play, and that is the end of the episode.
Oh, righty. What do we got for homework this week?
I didn't write anything down.
Nothing,
yeah.
All right. Well, Tim, what do you like for cover art this week?
Good question. What are you thinking? It seems like you might be thinking something.
I'm thinking if I can find one, I gotta find like a meme level, like the SpongeBob meme, or no, the Mr. Krabs meme of like he's like looking around and like everything in his background is blurry, as though he's just like, oh my god, what is going on? I gotta find something like that of Mike stomping this little dog.
Yeah. There's a rat.
There's a rat.
Yeah, I remember watching this episode and going, my God, that guy is exactly like Chris Farley. Just like, he was like the reincarnation. I was like, if this is not.
And you know what? He's funny too.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of people like don't think to cast him simply because he's Chris Farley's brother, and they don't want to like have the comparisons to Chris Farley. So I do kind of feel for the guy. He's a working actor, he's a working comedian. Unless I don't know his background. Maybe he didn't become an actor and comedian until Chris died.
Yeah, I don't know the background either.
But if he was already like working actor, working comedian, I feel for him.
I know, yeah, because, especially in this, he's got the mannerisms of Chris Farley, for crying out loud. And they're like identical. They could be twins. It's just so crazy how much he looks like his brother. I think he does a lot of voice work, actually, because I know he did that. He was on that Bill Burr Netflix cartoon in some, bit pieces here and there. Okay. Yeah. So maybe that's a place where he can kind of, get a lot of work, because you just kind of need that great expressive voice, not necessarily someone who looks exactly like Chris Farley. But yeah. I'm glad he got a show and a part as big as this. Very, I don't know about early in his career or whatever, but this was very cool that Larry, cast him, even though he looked exactly like Chris Farley.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I can't think of anything else that, I don't know. That's as good as anything. Yeah, because it involves the rat dog.
If I see anything else, I'll see what I can do.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see what we can do about this week's description.
Okay.
So we had Larry tests the limits of sick sex, semicolon. Loretta and Leon's job prospects are burned by a slow toaster.
How are Leon's job prospects burned by a slow toaster?
I don't really know. I was trying to think. I'm like, is it just because the toast is taking forever?
Yeah, but that it does affect Loretta's job interview, because Larry has to make toast for Cheryl. It does not affect Leon's job interview at all.
No, it doesn't. I wish we had something in here about the phone swap.
Yeah,
because that's a bigger player into Leon's job prospects.
Yes, yeah.
And also the testing the limits of sick sex, that's a single that's 2 lines.
I think it takes up,
it's not a plot.
Yeah. I think it takes up less than a minute of the entire episode.
Totaled between both scenes.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we don't need that at all. But this is a weird episode that has so much going on. It's almost difficult to discern what the A story is, because you have the job interviews, you have Larry's dad being in love with his happy ending masseuse.
I think the A story has got to be the interviews, because that plays into the phone swap, that plays into the toaster, it plays into Larry and Cheryl, like Larry taking care of Cheryl because she's sick. It plays into everything. The A story is definitely the interviews.
Well, see, I was thinking the A story was Larry's interactions with Hal and Jane.
Man.
I know. Man. And then we have Mike and the musical. Geez, there's so much going on. How do you pick what?
I still think the A story has got to be the interviews. The B story, like you can have a very prominent B story.
Yeah.
I think B story has got to be the ASL.
Okay, so what about just, Larry offends a deaf woman and her husband?
How about just Larry, keep it simple for the first one, because just Larry offends a deaf woman.
Okay.
Boom.
Yeah.
And then the offense rolls over to her husband. But it starts off with just Gene. Yeah,
that's right. So Larry offends a deaf woman.
Do you want to keep the semicolon?
Yeah, that's fine. Semicolon. Leon and Loretta's something with their job interviews. How do we want to? I still love the play on words. I don't think we can use it, because it's going to make it too long.
Loretta and Leon's job prospects are what we can keep. Burned by a slow toaster and what's a good pun for a phone swap?
Okay. There could have been something with burner phone in there, but I don't think we can. I don't think we can work that. Are burned by a slow toaster
and a gross miscommunication. That's bad. That's real bad.
I mean, and I mean, it could just be as simple as swapped phones. Oh wait, crossed phone lines or something like that. Like when you getting your lines crossed. Yeah.
Yeah. Burned by a slow toaster and crossed phone lines.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that might be it.
Okay. All right. I like it.
What we had: Larry offends a deaf woman, semicolon, Leon and Loretta's, or no, let's go. Loretta and Leon's job prospects are burned by a slow toaster and crossed phone lines.
Yeah, I think that's good.
There we go.
And honestly, I mean, the Nat, I would love if they keep the storyline going because I think it's very funny that Larry's dad is essentially every douchebag that goes to Hooters or a strip club.
Yes, he's like, I think they really like me.
I mean, that storyline is hilarious to me, and Larry trying to convince him that it is not the case. The fact that he showed up with Lisa, because it could have all ended in Sur La Table once his dad found out that it was, but Lisa is there with him, so there might be something to it. Yeah, maybe she does like him, and maybe Larry's not gonna believe, he's gonna think that she's, whatever. I hope they keep that going because that was hilarious to me. And then the 6X storyline is storyline D.
Ha.
69. No, I did not.
In a numerical list of stories in this episode, it is story number 69.
Hell yeah. No, yeah, it's definitely the D story. Yeah, that's funny. So I think we did it. I think we made it better, and we kept the pun. So I'm happy.
All right, Tim, did you like this episode?
It was a fine, above average baseline episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm. I can't give it a star or anything, but I enjoyed it all the way through. What about you?
Wow. Okay. I was thoroughly enjoying this episode. It was like very, like you said, very base level. And then the thing that kicked it into another notch for me was Mike the Exterminator curb stomping this little dog. And that same reaction you were talking about, I had that same reaction. I'm watching the episode. I had to pause the voice to text on my notes app, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, oh my God. And I'm just watching all of the commotion. Mike trying to tell himself it's a rat. It's a rat. That, and I was dying at the cringe aspect of the prom storyline.
Yeah.
And the ASL, and even though it's got Tim Meadows in it, which is an immediate for me, I'm gonna give this episode a star.
Whoa! So you don't like seeing Tim Meadows and stuff?
It's okay. It always makes me think of my interaction with him, and it always will.
Oh, I forget. I don't remember.
Oh, no way, really?
Probably once you explain it, but now, I mean, you have to explain it to the listeners now.
I think we've told this story on
really?
On the episode on the pod before. If we haven't, if we have, it's been years.
Yeah.
But Tim Meadows came in and did a weekend at the local comedy club in Erie, Pennsylvania. This was like late spring, early summer 2015. I had literally just been hired as a full-timer at our local radio group in promotion. So I was taking photos for social media and the websites. I didn't know how many photos I needed. Yeah. Instead of just, click, okay, thanks for stopping in, Tim, and upload to Facebook, I was taking, admittedly, way too many photos, but also it was very early in the morning. It was 7 o'clock or something. Tim Meadows is in there. I'm taking photos. He's literally just sitting there, not doing anything interesting visually anyway. And he just looks at me. He's like, I'm sorry, how many photos are you needing to take? And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, sir. And I just I back away sheepishly.
Slinked away.
Yeah, just slinked away. And I'm like, ever since then, it's been 8 years, and I still have a visceral reaction to anything Tim Meadows.
Yeah, he doesn't like. He's not a guy that I will seek out and go, yes, I must see everything Tim Meadows is in. But when he pops up, he adds something to. I don't even think he was ever that really funny on SNL. But just like everything,
he is a very good straight man.
Yeah.
In anything that he plays, but I will never unless I meet Tim Meadows again, and I will definitely tell him this story. Hopefully it gets a laugh out of him. At the very least, an awkward cringe laugh to keep a bit going.
Yeah. I agree with you that he's a good straight man, and so that whenever he tried to be the funny star, it fell flat for me. Like the ladies' man, I don't think I ever cracked a smile at one ladies' man joke in the history of SNL. But whenever he pops up and he just has to play some, even any character work he did, I didn't really care for. But he could be funny as a straight man too. He could deliver a line without any intonation or whatever and just make it funny, I think. But the ladies' man specifically, I remember I'm like, I don't know what's funny about this. He likes sex.
Yeah. Also, I just thought of do you remember this show from Fox from a couple of years ago? It only lasted for one season, but with Tim Meadows and Cheryl Hines both in this episode, they played a couple in a Fox show a couple of years ago called Son of Zorn. Do you remember this?
Yeah, I never watched it, but I remember it.
So I actually really liked Son of Zorn, I probably remember it a little more fondly than I remember it at the time of watching it.
Yeah,
it was okay, but I still watched it, and I was still kind of bummed whenever they axed it after one season.
Yeah,
but Tim Meadows and Cheryl Hines were the couple on it that were raising their son, but Cheryl's ex-husband was a He-Man animated cartoon character.
Yeah,
and cartoons are real in this world. And their son, played by Johnny Pemberton, is mostly human, except for he's got a 2D cartoon animated penis.
No way. I did not know that aspect of the show. That's funny.
I doubt you can find it anywhere now because it's just a one season failed show from fucking 8 years ago.
I know. It's probably on Hulu or it would pop up on Hulu. It should anyway.
Son of Zorn, 2016, one season.
Yeah, I remember when they added
it's
that.
It's on Hulu.
I
right.
had a feeling.
Wow.
Yeah, they just throw that stuff up and they forget about it. They're like, if some ads run during it, great. If not, it just lives up there.
Make more money in ads on a couple people watching it on Hulu than it would have made in its entire run on Fox.
Yeah, this was and Jason Sudeikis was the voice of Zorn. I remember. I remember that now. Yeah, that's funny.
Right. I totally forgot he was the voice of Zorn. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and that was a Lord and Miller show, and they're funny dudes. Phil Lord and who's it? Christopher Miller. There you go. Yeah, I like. They're the Lego Movie guys.
Oh, okay.
And the Last Man on Earth and that kind of stuff. I'm into them. Okay. Oh, we haven't heard about what the next episode is about yet. I forgot how we. Yeah. Oh, that you liked. Yeah. You liked. Did you? You didn't give this a star though.
I am giving this a
star.
You
did give this a star. Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I am giving a star to the Rat Dog.
Sweet.
Yeah, so not many stars I've given out in season 6 so far.
Yeah, I'm keeping my stars because I really have 0 left.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping to knock off, I think it's the Freak Book. I think I'm hoping to knock the Freak Book down to number 4. So I'm keeping that other star, in my back pocket. I just can't give it out as freely.
Yeah. All right. Well, next week we have got season 6, episode 7, The TiVo Guy.
Oh my gosh. It's already dated by the title.
I know, right? I know. Original air date October 21st, 2007. And if you are looking in TV Guide that night, you are going to see a malfunctioning TV device puts Larry's marriage with Cheryl into a crisis mode.
Ooh, I kind of like, all right. I think this is still going to be relatable, though. You just have to swap in Netflix for TiVo or whatever. Possibly. But I like that malfunctioning.
DVR, the DVR guy.
The DVR guy, yeah.
But DVR is like the synonymous name, the overarching name for that.
But
anymore.
In 2007, TiVo was in danger of becoming genericized, like Xerox or Coke or whatever, because people were saying like, "Oh yeah, I got it on the TiVo." Even if you didn't have a TiVo brand, there was before TiVo went out of business. If you just had your cable company's DVR or whatever, you'd call it a TiVo. Oh yeah, I'll TiVo that. I got a TiVo.
Even if they're not still in business, are they?
I don't think so. They can't be.
Oh god.
Can't be.
Okay. I don't know. I feel like they're like a company that would just bubble under. TiVo Inc. was an American corporation with its primary product. Okay. Founded in 1997. Is TiVo still a thing? TiVo service is available in the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Mexico, Spain, and Taiwan at present. Oh, good lord.
Oh, it looks like it looks like they sell kind of a Chromecast or Amazon Fire or Roku device called TiVo Stream 4K. So they kind of pivoted to smartly.
Good for them, though. I mean, that's what they should have done.
Yeah, there's still. I mean, this is still $250, but there's still something called a TiVo Edge for cable TV DVR. So they sell their own brand of DVR. I guess if you don't want to pay for your cable company's DVR.
Honestly, though, if they could make a device that I could add shows and movies from all of my streaming platforms into one centralized DVR app, that'd be incredible. I'd buy that.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what I feel like Google's new Chromecast is, because you sort of connect it to all your streaming services and then you can search across them within Chromecast. So I feel like that's kind of maybe what you're even looking for, but I don't know what the TiVo dongle does. The TiVo dongle.
The TiVo dongle, baby.
Yeah, but it is. I have a feeling that some of this will resonate because, certainly it's still a thing that couples, like if you're watching a show, they're like, don't watch an episode without me. And certain, like DVR adultery.
I absolutely love that we're starting to get into like modern technology.
Yeah. And just see, because it's kind of, it's like Seinfeld 2000 or whatever. It's like finding out, because it's the same mentality.
What if Jerry get iPad?
Yeah. Yeah, we might actually find out an answer to that. It's just going to be through the eyes of George rather than Larry. Rather than Jerry. So, yeah, it's because it's the same mindset. And that's why Curb persists to this day, because it examines the nothingness of everyday life. All right. Is that it?
Yeah, I think that is it.
All right. For No Hugging, No Learning, I'm Tim Murphy.
I'm Ted Hollowell. Be good!